Let's start by looking at the source of the authority of Timothy and Titus. That will also give us some insight into the kind of authority that they have. Paul tells us that their authority comes from God through the laying on of hands. Paul laid his hands on them, as did several other leaders. Paul characterizes this laying on of hands as prophetic and a gift of God. We can see this same action of ordaining or commissioning through the laying on of hands in the book of Acts too. First in chapter 6, when the 12 appoint the first deacons, including Stephen, the first martyr, and then in chapter 13, when the leaders at Antioch commission and authorize Paul and Barnabas for missionary work. In fact, when Acts 14, verse 23 talks about Paul and Barnabas appointing elders for every local church in each city, the Greek word for appoint or ordain literally means to extend one's hand, if you look at the Greek lexicon. It should be noted that the Torah and Jewish tradition confirm this practice of simika, or of conferring divine authority on a new leader, with Moses laying his hands on Joshua being the prime example that the Mishnah, Talmud, and perhaps other Jewish sources refer to. And what kind of authority do we see Moses conferring upon Joshua? It was an authority over the entire congregation, such that everyone was required to obey him in all things. Clearly, the authority conferred to Timothy and Titus by the laying on of hands commands the obedience of the entire congregation they are in charge of. If there was any doubt that the laying on of hands was to continue after the apostles, we see the Apostle Paul expecting Timothy to lay hands on other men, to ordain elders. Paul says this right after guiding Timothy on how to discipline elders who persist in sin. And in Paul's second letter to Timothy, he explicitly commands Timothy to entrust Paul's oral teachings to others, who in turn will teach others. As other Catholic apologists have pointed out, this one verse contains 4 links or generations in a line of apostolic succession, starting with Paul, and then Timothy, and then those faithful to whom Timothy entrusts Paul's teaching, and then lastly the others that the faithful people will teach. This is the Apostle Paul commanding a line of his successors at Ephesus and Crete. Not just anyone or just any elder could ordain new elders or presbyters. Timothy and Titus were the ones entrusted with the authority to do this.